So, in this very right moment, we are all experiencing a very particular moment in our lives, when something that it's not so common, on the other way around. I think most of us have never seen a situation in which most of the world somehow gets stuck, get blocked, because of one particular disease. And why is the whole world stuck? One of the reasons is actually because we give a lot of value to life. If we didn't give value to life, there was no reason to block everything and to try to avoid all the difficulties and everything else. So basically, because we value life, in that way we try to protect life as much as we can. So, thinking about the preciousness of life, I came to the thought that actually, what is life made of? And the life of each one of us is mainly made of time. Our life is made of experiences, is made of moments, is made of interactions. And it's made basically somehow of time, because we have years which are made out of months, and which are made out of weeks, and made out of days and hours and minutes and so on and so on. And within this time, we fill up the time with experiences. We fill up the time with encounters, with physical experiences of objects that we perceive. We fill up our time with our own inner thoughts and emotions and feelings and so on and so on. So basically, our life is made of our own experiences, our thoughts, and our experiences that come through our five senses. This is basically what our life is made of. So, in the moment that we give so much value to life, I believe, which is very good, I believe it becomes very important for us truly to value our own life and to say, how do I want to use it? Because there is no point in giving a lot of value to life and then after not valuing life itself every minute that we experience. So we may give value to a general idea of life. Oh, my life is so precious, our life is so precious, that we need to protect our lives. We give, generally speaking, a lot of value to the life of each one of us. But then when it comes to the specific of valuing truly life, in its very essence, how much value are we actually giving? And one of the behaviors that happen often, which goes in the opposite direction, is wanting to make time pass. We say, okay, I get bored, time doesn't go by. Oh, what I do, now I need to stay at home for I don't know how long, a few weeks, months, who knows how long I need to stay closed at home, what do I do? And time doesn't pass. And actually time is life. So one of the very important issues is actually us seeing our own life not as a goal by itself, but as a mean. We can have it for different objectives, but as a mean to develop more peace, as a mean to develop inner states of consciousness that we bring from life to life, as a mean to do something that we leave something positive for the society, and also that we can give something good for others. There are different reasons to which we can actually use our life in a positive and in a virtuous way. So, one of the important things is that life is made of time, and time is filled up with experiences, time is filled up with actions and states of consciousness. So within that, we don't have so much choice in our own experience that we call life. We don't have so much control of who we will meet, where we will go, the situations that we go through. Our control is quite limited relating that, because it doesn't depend only on our own choices, it depends on the choices of the whole. It depends on the choices and the interactions that happen between all people. At the same time, there is one part which is very much depending on us, which is which are the priorities that I want to give and how do I want to experience every moment. So, I like to imagine that time, it's like an empty space. And then we can choose within our own experiences, what do we want to fill up inside this empty space. It's like if we have a big luggage, or if we have a room, or if we have something which it has limited space. So how much stuff do I want to put inside, and what actually do I want to put inside? This is a choice that we have. The amount of time that we have in our life, we don't have so much control. We know that we are all going to die. We have no idea when. It could be very soon, and it could be very late. We have truly no any real control over it. At the same time, we also don't know what we will encounter. We don't know what situations will come about. We don't know what will happen as we go through our life. But we still can take these opportunities that we have, and we can choose to use it in a way or in another way, which means that the time that we have, it doesn't depend on us, the amount that we have in front of us. But this time we found ways how to count it. So we divide it by weeks and days and hours. So if we take one day is one day. It's the time that the earth takes to turn within itself. But if we think it's 24 hours, what do we do within it? How do we use it? The opportunities that we have daily, how do we use them? This is something that is in our own hand. And when we talk about space, we fill up the space of our life with encounters, with situations that we experience, places that we go, people that we meet, so encounters. We fill up this space with physical experiences of our senses, things that we see, that we listen, that we taste, that we touch, that we smell. And we fill up our space with our thoughts and emotions. So, actually what consumes most of the space in our life is not so much the external experiences, I personally believe, but it's mostly our own thoughts and projections and emotion. I think this consumes more space than actually the external direct experiences that we have of what we see and what we listen and so on. You know? So great part of our life is made of what? Made of our own thoughts. It's made of the memories of the past. It's made of the projections of the future. Expectations, desire, fear. And the memories of what have happened. We have joy for some things that have happened. We have sadness for other things that have happened. There is different types of feelings. But most of the space of our life very often is being occupied with all of this, which mostly depends on us. So, even if we are in a beautiful place with nice people, in a good condition, in good health, and everything is really going well, so still, what happens when we are with our mind filled up with fear? When our mind is filled up with hatred, or with dissatisfaction, or with any other of these emotions, we are completely taken by it. And we can be in a beautiful place, but still we are not truly there, and our space is still completely consumed. And someone may tell me, oh yes, that's true, but how do I do? I believe that first of all it's important for us to have awareness of what is happening. For us to have some sort of awareness of our own, of the processes that we go through. We need to, if we start observing how much time and space is consumed by our projections, by our thoughts regarding the future, by our thoughts and emotions regarding the past, and we see how much space is actually being consumed by the direct experiences that we have in the present, then we can already start to have some clarity, because first we need to have awareness. Once we have awareness, then we can give a direction. Once we gave a direction, then we need to follow that direction. But first of all, we need to have some awareness. And the awareness in this point is, okay, what am I filling up my life with? Okay. Is it possible right away to stop all projections of the future? No. We have this incredible capacity of memory and imagination, in which we can remember the past and we can imagine the future. The problem is that very often, instead of making in our head a beautiful story for the future, we make it a terror movie. And we imagine the most terrible things, and then we fill up our mind with doubts and fears and so on and so on. And independent of the fact if that things will or not happen, there we are suffering before. And there we are filling up our life with it, and we are experiencing in the present, we are experiencing anxiety and fear based on what? On something that we don't know if it will ever exist or not. So if by any chance it would come to existence, then we've suffered more than once. If it would not come to existence, then we are suffering for something that actually not even ever happened. So, one of the important points is bringing ourselves to the present moment, trying to feel our body, breathe, bring our mind to the present. Okay? And one of the things that for me personally have always helped a lot regarding fear and regarding uncertainty of the future is the actual understanding of the certainty of uncertainty. The truth is that when I start thinking about what will happen, actually I have no real understanding. Anything that I say is just a result of my own logic, but it's mostly a result of my own personal imagination at the same time. I have no real certainty of what will happen, when, how. So, for me, and this may look a bit strange, but my own personal experience is that when I'm able to see, to perceive the certainty of uncertainty, it relaxes me a lot. What will happen? I don't know. So what's the point of imagining it? What's the point of making a whole fuss about it inside my mind? Oh, maybe this and maybe that and this, etc. Okay, I need to live the present in the best of my abilities. Okay, we are in a situation where we need to protect our health. So I need to do it in the best of my abilities, without any doubt. I'm not talking about living the present in a way that is not responsible regarding the future, or living the present in a way that is not consequent regarding the future. No. We need to live the present in the best of our abilities. So if I need to take care of my health, I need to take care in the best way. If I want to have a certain financial, economical, material situation, I need to take care of it, and so on and so on. It's very simple. If I want to have a good relationship with another person, what do I need to do in the present? Act with kindness, with humility, with love, with respect, with gratitude, with creating harmony with the other person, instead of acting with anger or with indifference or any other ways. So, we're talking about living the present in a way that is coherent with the future that we want. But we have no any true certainty of how things will go. No one of us, regarding any moment and anything. I'm not talking about this precise moment of this coronavirus and so on. I'm talking about generally speaking in life. Because the way how we deal with specific situations, it's actually a reflection of how we deal with things normally in life. So those that have more anxiety and more fear, in a particular moment manifest more anxiety and fear, and so on. So, we need to do the best that we have under our own abilities. And if someone asks me, and then what will happen? I don't know. Oh, that's so nice, no? Because in the moment that I acknowledge that actually I have no any true idea of what will happen in 10 minutes time, much less what will happen tomorrow or the day after or in 10 years or in 1 year or in 1 week time. I have truly no any certainty. So there is no point in using my mind and in using my space and my energy into trying to understand and project what will happen. I need to act in a coherent way with what I want to happen. If I want to have a good health, I need to act in the present, doing the things that are good for my health. If I want to have a good relationship with someone, I need to act in the present in the way that I can cultivate a good relationship with the person. If I want to have a good financial situation, I need to act in the present in accordance to what is necessary to have a good financial situation, and so on and so on. But we have no any certainty of truly how things go. We have no certainty. And someone may say to me, oh, but this certainty of uncertainty, doesn't it bring more anxiety? I think not. Personally, I truly relax within the certainty of uncertainty. Because the certainty of uncertainty brings me to say, okay, I must live the present in the best way as I can. Because truly speaking, anything that I put is just a result of my own imagination. I don't know, if we see to everyone that is listening from home, how many times in our life we saw things that were completely different from what we could expect. How many times we saw situations and things that we could have never ever expected in our life. I am still quite young, but I have seen so many times in my life situations that I've never ever expected before. Since I was quite young, I could see things like this. In the religious aspect, in the family context, in the religious context, in the society context, in the financial context, in whatever context we are. How many times we go through and we see situations that we could never, even in the best of our imagination, we were not able to imagine it. So, we can have no true control, we can have no true, understanding of what will happen, how will happen, when will happen. But there is one thing which is fundamental, which is maybe what brings me the greatest peace in the middle of this uncertainty. It is, in the certainty of the uncertainty, we understand and we accept, we acknowledge that we are not with the control of what will happen. It's not in my hands. I am not the one having the control of life, of myself and of anyone else. But at the same time, there is one point which is more important than what will happen. It's how I will deal with it. Because at the same time that I have no any real control and power over what will happen, I have a lot of power over how I will deal with it. And that's finally what makes the big difference. What makes the difference in our lives is not what happens so much, but it's mostly how we deal with it. How we relate ourselves with what is happening. This is one of the most important aspects. Because if we look backwards, how many things have we gone through up to today? Since our childhood. I'm sure that we can make a whole complete series with the life of each one of us. And we can tell so many stories of things that we have gone through, and emotions, attractions, aversion, fears, beautiful things, terrible things, easy, difficult, all sorts of situations we have gone through. And if we were really a good storyteller, I can say that there is not the life of one person that is not interesting. I think the life of every one of us is full of details and so many things that we have gone through. Okay? So, with all the things that we have gone through, we are here. The things have finished. We may have had a difficult sickness, which now it's gone. We may have had a difficult financial moment, which now it's gone. We may have had a difficult moment with another person that we were together and then we separate and then whatever happened, then that has also passed. Some of these things we are still going through. And many others have already passed. We may have had the most beautiful, wonderful moment with someone and that has also passed. We may have had so many beautiful things in our life which have also passed. So the fact is not what have happened, but what have we become out of these experiences. Because every time that we go through something, there is the situation, which means the actions of the other people together with the context in which we are and everything. There is my own emotions and the way how I relate and I deal with the situation. And then there is the final result, which is what I become out of that. What are the aspects of my own mind that I go to cultivate? What of my own self that I go to cultivate through that experience? And right now, what we are the result of all the experiences that we have had up to now. Each one of us. So, what happens doesn't matter so much. Yes, it matters, but that's not the main issue. Especially because we have no control over it. And we have no power over it. None of us can have control about what is going to happen. But what matters most of all is how we deal with it. Because I just remember now, for example, I have had one situation once in my life. Many years have passed already, I think something like 14 years. Something like that. And which was a very difficult moment. Was a situation that I do not wish for anyone. Was a situation in which what I felt was that other people were treating me with quite a lot of aggression. Direct and passive aggression also. A lot of, a lot of discrimination. And many things like this. I was living in the monastery in India and it was a particular moment. Based on things which that, from my point of view, I have not done anything. So I was the situation in which people that were friends at a certain point started treating you with indifference and with aggression and many other things that came about. So it was not at all an easy moment. I have my own character is maybe a little bit strange. So since that time I never connect much to these things. Okay, you want to treat me badly, that's your problem. But sure, at that time I remember going to Brazil and the doctor taking me to go to make a test if I had tuberculosis. Because my lungs were so weak and I was quite bad. And there was sure a lot, somehow the emotions manifest in the body and it's not because we are going through a situation that is not affecting ourselves in a way or in another. This is just to say it was not an easy moment, okay? And it lasted for a few years. So the situation was going on, every time it was going up and up and up higher. And I found myself, for instance, in front of some people that I had mixed experiences with them. They have done nice things to me. They have been my friends. They have given me good, beautiful things. And then they have also treated me in ways that I really thought were not nice at all. So what feeling to have? And there's a phrase in Portuguese which at that time helped me a lot, which is uma coisa, outra coisa, outra coisa. One thing is one thing, another thing is another thing. It's not because you are doing something to me that I want to avoid and that is generating suffering to myself, that I think is not correct and good, that I need to take away all the good things that I have received. So I'm grateful for the good things that I have received, and I create distance with the bad things that I am receiving. And the other aspect was that the most important thing for me was actually to be in front of a situation which was harming me, with people that, according to my perception and my experience, were harming me. I don't know if they had the direct intention to harm me or not, but their words and their actions somehow were harming me. And at the same time, how not to identify myself within the same type of energy, entering into anger, entering into hatred, entering into aversion towards them. And I feel very proud in a way that I feel that I could somehow, I don't have any bad feelings towards any one of them. I can look at them, I can have memories of them, beautiful memories. I'm grateful to most of them that they have given me beautiful things in other moments. And at the same time, there is no any bad feeling. So, when I look now, I can look behind and I said, oh, I'm so happy that I went through all of that. Because I personally learned so much. And I remember I was coming through a moment in which I had this thought, oh, you know, my life is so perfect. I have no real problems, no issues, everything is going so well. And then I had this thought which was, how can I help other people to go through difficulties in their life if I don't have to go through difficulties in mine? How can I help other people if I don't have my own direct experience to deal with these situations? Because I have always believed that it makes a big difference to have theory and to have experience. And then when I had this thought, and somehow in my mind I made this prayer, may I have direct experiences to be able to help others better. It didn't take much time. And then much sooner than what I expected, there I was with all these difficult situations of many kinds. And I can say that from that time on, it never stopped. If it's not of one kind, it is of another. But when I look backwards to these experiences that I've gone through, I can say personally that I'm happy for what happened. I'm not saying that it was easy. I'm not saying that it didn't harm. But I'm grateful to my masters, and I'm grateful to the effort that I put and everything. So I've seen that actually I feel that I am a better person now than I was before. I have learned something that makes me someone more stable, with more joy and with better qualities now than what I was before. So when I go to that, what happened was not really good and were things that I could never expect before. But the way how I dealt with it and the way how the whole thing went through, the experience that I came out through with it, it's actually positive. So again, the important thing is not so much what happens, but how we relate with it. And based on that, this is actually where we have real freedom, and that's where actually we can apply the Dharma and we can apply our own effort, which is how I deal with the situations that I go through. I want to deal with the situations with anger, with hatred, with insatisfaction, with jealousy, with envy, or I want to deal with the situations with acceptance, with gratitude, with respect, with joy. That's a choice that we have. I cannot say that the life of all of us will always be beautiful and wonderful and perfect, because I cannot lie. The life of all of us do have difficulties and will have difficulties. Some time ago, I was talking to Rinpoche, Kanchi Rinpoche, and the beginning of this year, it had some different signs. And normally when something begins, the way how things begin gives signs of more or less how it's going to be. You know? And this year started with different interferences and difficulties in many aspects. You know? And as we can see, it's not being a very easy year, the other way around. It's being a year with different types of interferences and difficulties in many levels. Worldwide, which brings a result to our communities and to our personal selves and individuals and so on. Anyhow, I was talking to Rinpoche that day, and there was this... Someone said something, I don't remember precisely, but it came out saying, oh, you know, this year we may have a lot of interferences and this and that. And then I went to Rinpoche and said, Rinpoche, but do you remember a year where there were no interferences, where there were no difficulties, where there were no problems? You know? And have you ever met someone that didn't have problems and difficulties in life? And I said, look, even Kyabche Trichan Dorje Chan, you know, Kyabche Trichan Rinpoche, from my perspective, there were situations that are interferences and difficulties and so on. And Rinpoche said, oh, even my Groot Guru, Kyabche Trichan Dorje Chai, had so many problems. You know? And when I look at the life of the great masters, tell me one that didn't have problems. I never read about one. So, if the great masters, which are enlightened beings, emanations of Buddha in their life manifested here, they go through so many troubles and difficulties and so on, what about me? That's more than obvious that I will have all sorts of difficulties. This body naturally decays. This mind naturally experiences moments of joy and moments of suffering. But everything that comes, goes and transforms into something else. So, when at that time I was talking to Rinpoche, I said, but you know, the point is that, yes, this year will there be difficulties? Yes. You know, I can say that I am clairvoyant. This year we will have difficulties. This is not clairvoyance. This is very basic logic. Based on previous experiences. So, we don't need to make a big fuss of the fact that we have difficulties, because when it's not one thing, it's another thing. But we need to put particular attention in the way how we deal with the difficulties, where we put our energy, because the difficulties, they can help us to get united, they can help us to develop beautiful qualities, or they can just strengthen our own selfishness and our own hatred and our own attachment and other aspects of ourselves also. So, where do we put our focus? Where do we put our energy? Into trying to make reality as we think it should be, or into trying to deal with reality in the best way how we think we should deal? There is a very clear difference between the two. Because when we talk about dealing with reality in the best of our abilities, there is a very basic part of acceptance. Acceptance, from my personal point of view, is something very beautiful, which is not subduing oneself to the situation. Because to subdue oneself to the situation means, oh, it is like it is, I cannot do anything, so I just let it be. Acceptance means, okay, it is as it is, but my actions will make a difference of what it will become. So I put my energy in what I want it to become. without fighting for what actually it is already. There is no point discussing and fighting with what has already happened. There is a big point into acting in the present in the direction of what we want to happen. It's the example I gave many times. When we see a leaf falling from a tree, and it falls at a precise position, and we ask ourselves, why have the leaf fallen at this position? Is it something which is random? Is a random position? Or it is a precise position based on so many variables of causes and conditions that put together make the leaf to fall exactly at that position? It is not random at all. It depends on so many different things, such as the temperature, there is the pressure, atmospheric pressure, there is the wind, there is the car that was passing nearby, the children playing under the tree, the bird that was actually on the branch. So many things. We can pass like a whole life telling the story of why the leaf fell at that very precise position. So acceptance means I see the perfection of the position in which the leaf falls. It's perfect because it could not have been different. But within that perfection, I see the power of each and every one of the individuals, of each and every one of the parts that made such reality. And I am one of them. So in the present moment, if I don't want any leaf to fall anymore in the same place, I must do something about it. So what can I do in front of the situation and the reality in which I live? So I don't need to fight against the present, and much less against the past. I need to act with consciousness in the present towards the future that I want to see. It makes a big difference. But remembering that the future that I want to see, I have no any true control of what will happen, when it will happen, how it will happen. What I have is control of how I deal with what I have right now. When I meet someone, which face do I make? Which words do I say? When I am in a difficult situation, how do I act? Do I say the truth? Do I don't say the truth? When I am in a situation where there is the need of sharing, but there is not so much, what I do? I share, I keep it all for myself. You know, I have many situations in which we have choices to make of how to deal with it. And that's the real test when we are in difficult situations. That's the real moment in which something really changes inside of us. Because until we are exactly in our normal, comfort zone, where everything goes as we are somehow used to be, and we are within the comfort zone, and we repeat the same patterns, we are just strengthening that same patterns again and again. But real changes are not so easily happening. When we are in a situation that takes us out of our comfort zone, that is not the common daily situations that we are used to, that's when actually we can react differently, and that's when actually the way how we act makes a bigger impact in what we become. So, the moment in which we are right now, I believe it's a very particular and in one way precious moment. It's precious because it is difficult for many of us, especially for those that have to deal with sickness directly because they are sick or because they need to help those that are sick. It's a very difficult moment, and someone may say, how can you say that's precious? In a way, it's unique because it's a moment in which each one can actually, that is in difficult situation, can also actually choose. I want to escape, or I want truly to apply my values and to follow what I believe. It's not easy, but it's the moment in which we can really do. When we are able to apply the values of taking care of others, of respecting the life of each and every one, of helping others, and we are in the moment in which we do, even though it's difficult for ourselves truly, we are making that values and that states of consciousness so much stronger within ourselves. It is in these moments in which we have difficulties that we can say, okay, where do I want to put my energy? How much is the other people around me important? What are my priorities? We need to check these things within our lives. It's in the moment in which we are confronted in front of our eyes with our own mortality. Because that's what is happening. I don't know how much that is clear for many of us. Many of us are still thinking, oh, we need to be closed because, okay, the government says, and then there is this pandemic going around and this and that, whatever. But one of the messages that we are all receiving so clearly is, you are going to die. Not necessarily from coronavirus. But we are fragile. Life is fragile. But much sooner than later, this life will end as we know it. And I don't believe dying is a problem, even though I say we must do everything to avoid it. The greatest problem that we should do is still more to avoid is not dying, but is living in a way that is meaningless. It's letting our life go by without actually giving true meaning to it, without using it in a meaningful way. To give meaning to life is not to do something unique. To give meaning to life is to use life in a way that helps us to become someone better for ourselves, for the sake of others. If we live a life based on respect, on love, on gratitude, if we live a peaceful life, we are having a meaningful life. If we live a life that we are constantly running after something that we don't know what it is, we are constantly basing our life into objects of desire, avoiding momentary suffering, trying to have constant pleasure, and we are running, and we don't know even where we are running to. Then we really need to stop and review what we are doing with our lives. And this is a beautiful opportunity that we should not let go with in the front of our eyes with distractions. Because this is what I see in many people, is that we somehow get distracted by the situation and we don't see the opportunity that we have in front of us. The opportunity that we have of using the time to reflect, of understanding our own mortality, and by that making a choice of what is truly important for us. The opportunity that we have of understanding that the welfare of the whole is more important than our own personal, individual welfare and well-being. So, my advice is that we take this time to meditate, we take this time to study, to make our prayers. And in a way, I see around many people that we come in a society nowadays that we are used to run so much. We're always running. No? A good metaphor of our society nowadays for me is in the gym. There is this treadmill, I think is the name. This place where people go running, and they don't get anywhere, basically. You know? It's a very good metaphor for the days in which we live. Like when I go to Brazil, between the Dharma Center and my mom's house, I passed through, I think, 2 or 3 academies where people make gym. And I look, they are all in the window glass now. And you see these people running. Normally listening to music, and then they are running, and They have nowhere to go, they just run. And even there are some of them that they go up on stairs, you know. You step and stairs and you don't go anywhere. And I look at all of that. And then you go to the airport and you see everyone taking the escalator, no one taking the stairs, you know. And then I say, okay, people pay to run, not to get anywhere. And when they have to walk, they try to avoid it. Anyhow, that's another point. But the point is that if we look, there is so much running, and we have this thing of needing to do so many things. And very often when we look, then we ask ourselves, where am I going? We don't know. Okay, I need to run because I need to make money, because I need to do this, because I need to pay the taxes, because I need to do... But finally, the important things that we have, very often we are not giving enough time, which means we are not living them. We are not experiencing them. So the fact that now we all need to stop a bit, I think it's very good in the sense that we really need to, you know, make the time a little bit go slower, calm down a little bit, give space for reflection, give some space for us to be with the people that are near to us in one's own family, physically, or nowadays we have modern ways of communication. You know, when was the last time that many of us had the time just to sit down and read a book? But what worries me is that finally we have physical time, but then how much space of this time is filled up with worries? How much of this space is filled up with thoughts that are of no particular benefit in the present moment or in the future moment? So, if someone asks me, oh, what will happen in 10 days? What will be the situation afterwards? What will happen? I don't know. But what I can say is that if we live the present moment virtually, positively, it will be good for us independently of what happens after 10 days. We need to live our life in a way that we have no regret. I have seen one of the very beautiful things some weeks ago. I think I have very bad temporary memory. But some time ago, one of our good friends, Maria Lopez from Almeria, she passed away here in Albagnano. And for me, there was something extremely beautiful to see. Which was, I was with her, not so long, short before she died. And some days before. And afterwards I talked with people, she kept the same attitude. Was to see someone having no regret and no fear upon her own death. It's so peaceful. And it's so beautiful. Because to have no regrets means I am in peace with my actions, I am in peace with my experiences, I am in peace with others, I have no anger, no any bad feelings, I am fine with myself and others, I am in peace with the world and with myself. And this is one of the great realizations that we should gain in front of our own death. You know? And our friend Maria, she had this blessing to be able to accept her own mortality and to prepare herself to die. She understood clearly. She went home, she cleared everything, she said goodbye to people, she made things in a way that she would not give trouble to people after she died. She tried to organize things very clearly, she tried to solve the conflicts that were still there, as she did. And she was able to do this task which is almost impossible for so many of us. So in our daily life, we don't know when we are going to die. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. But we need to live every day of our life without regrets. We need to go through every day being in peace with ourselves and with others. accepting each one for what they are and trying to interact with them to make them better. Cultivating gratitude, cultivating love, not giving space to the feelings of hatred or jealousy or envy and so on. Accepting our own self, embracing our own self with our beautiful aspects and with our faults. We are not perfect. I am not perfect. I myself, I have many things that I wanted to be different. If anybody asks me, "Oh Lama, are you happy with yourself?" Yes. Do you feel guilty? No. If you would make a list of things that you think would be better if you would be different, oh, I have a long list. I can make you a long list of things that would be better. You know? I don't need now start making a criticism moment. It's not the moment for that. Okay, but if I start making the list of the aspects of my own life, speaking from inside to outside, of things that I think it would be better if it was different, I can make you a long list. Okay? I remember one time I made a list for Rinpoche. It was like sort of a blacklist, no? Okay, Rinpoche, the things which I regret and things which I need to change and things that are not okay with me and so on. And I went to Rinpoche, "Oh Rinpoche, I wrote these things down because better to have it clear. I wanted to read to you, please, if you can." "Oh yes, one day we read." I think I waited 2 years until I was able to read him the list. And after 2 years, I was finally able to read this list. I still have it somewhere. And when I read to him, the good thing was that from the 36 points that I had, 2 had gone. No new ones were there. And the other ones were still there. So I was somehow happy and I said, look at that, okay, 2 years have passed, 2 points have gone, you know. Maybe I still have another 36 years to go, who knows, slowly, I can take away the others. But my point was that, yes, there are things that I want to make better. And each one of us, we have many of them. I have no doubt of it. Okay? And the more clarity we have of ourselves, the longer the list becomes. It is said that the greatest is our spiritual development, which means the greater is the level of awareness, of wisdom, of love that we have. The greater is the clarity of the things that we need to change within ourselves. So I believe the more we go forward, the more we see the little things and subtle aspects that we need to change. Now, it's very similar to what we say, the more I know that I don't know. Okay? Then there is a point in which slowly we're able to deal with these defilements until they are completely gone. But what I want to say finally is that sure, I have many defilements myself. I have many aspects which I think, oh, it would be better if it's different. But I love myself so much as I am. And I still put effort to be different. I don't know if it's clear this. It may look inconsistent, but actually it's not. Because I believe that we need to embrace ourselves. Because I am the result of all the interactions that I have done up to now. From my childhood, all the previous lives and everything that we can put together up to now. What do I want to do with that? That's in my hands and that's a direction that I will give. But I embrace myself as I am and I direct myself to be someone better. There is no point in not accepting oneself and going against oneself and being upset with oneself. Oh, I am not good, I should not be like this, I should not have done that, I should be better. You shouldn't be anything, you are what you are, as I am what I am. I want to be better, wonderful, me too. So let's do things that will gradually bring us to be what we want to be. For example, one of my issues is laziness. I have been talking about it since so many years and I've been working on it. And, by putting effort in it, which means I don't want to do that because I feel lazy. That's exactly why I do it. Is it painful? Very much. So, just giving whatever stupid example. I don't want to take the glass somewhere else. Why I don't want to take the glass somewhere else? Simply because I am lazy. But the question is, do I like being lazy? Do I want to be lazy? No, because I have awareness of how much laziness is harming me. How many opportunities I am losing because of laziness. You know? When I look to myself, I see the opportunity I had which I lost of memorizing texts, for example. When I was in the monastery in India, I had no any worries. The only thought I could have in my mind was, go to the pujas, study, do your practice. Nothing more, you know. I had no problem with the construction, the permit, this person need this, that person need that, nya 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 here, nya 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 there. I had nothing. The only thought was study, go to the pujas, finish it on. There was no any other thought of whatsoever. And then, why didn't I memorize, from my point of view, at least the minimum necessary? I didn't. Because I was lazy about it. I didn't like it. I knew it was good for me, but I didn't like it to memorize texts when we study. It's not part of our Western culture so much, but in the Tibetan way of studying, we need to memorize a lot of stuff. And it's so good because once we have memorized it, after we keep it forever with us, and whenever you need something, you can remember it easily, and it's actually so useful in the life. And I didn't like it, so because of that I was lazy about it, and I almost didn't do it. I did the minimum of the minimum of the minimum of the minimum. And I'm not proud of it at all. So when I look backwards, I lost a special opportunity, because nowadays I don't have the inner space that I had at the time to memorize anymore. Because my inner space is filled up with other things. If I wake up in the morning and then already comes the thoughts to my mind, oh, I need to do this because the construction here, oh, because there is that other situation there, and I have the other things which fill up our space. The more things we connect to, the more things we need to do, the more our inner space is filled. Then it's more difficult to study, it's more difficult to memorize. So I lost one opportunity. It's true. Who made me lose that opportunity? My own laziness. So I don't want to be lazy, even though I am. So when I find myself in front of the glass that I don't want to take away, because I am lazy, I ask myself, what is stronger for me? The wish not to take the glass away, or the wish not to be lazy? If for me not to be lazy is more important, then what I will do, I will, especially because of that, I will take the glass and I will take it away. Why? Because I will not follow my own laziness. And every time that we do that, we make that emotion, in this case laziness, that behavior, weaker and weaker and weaker. And slowly we direct ourselves to be different. So, embrace ourselves with what we are. Direct ourselves to become what we want to be. It's something that I believe is very important. So, we have no certainty of the future, but we have the certainty of the way we experience the present, of what we have with us, and that's where we need to apply love, respect, gratitude, satisfaction. That's where we need to cultivate peace, and most possibly arrive by the end of every day without regrets. And to do all of that, we must dedicate time and space for it. Because our mind is so easily taken by distractions. I was thinking a few days ago, if the meditators of the past, and we can go in any religion, In Buddhism, Lama Tsongkhapa went to the mountains. Buddha Shakyamuni went to the forest. Okay? If we take Saint Francis went to the mountains to pray and meditate. Okay? Why? Because they wanted to go away from distraction. And what we do nowadays, we go to the mountain with a cell phone. I was thinking, if at that time people need to go away from distraction, what about us, you know? We have so much distraction. And because of the amount of distractions that we have, the space that we have available, inner space that we have available, becomes so much smaller. So, I request everyone, please, we need to make inner space. We need to make our space available to ourselves. And for that, we need to go away from distractions. We need to make our distractions less and less and less and less. I see in myself, I have a problem. I cannot listen to music. Because very often, if I listen to one music, it remains there for such a long time. You know? There is this music which is the most, I listen to it once, I think it remained in my head for at least 1 week. Is this Baby Shark? Okay? And it's something that, listen and then there it is, you know? Or one day, I don't know, I was in the car, I put on the radio when music was there, one time. After a few weeks, they're coming. So that's one of the reasons personally I see I have that weakness. So I think there is 2 possibilities. Or listen to a lot of music, then somehow it mixes all together and then it goes away because I almost never listen. So when I listen to once it sticks. Or I need to protect myself not to listen to music that stick to the head. But what I want to say is that our mind, it's filled up with so much information that actually has no real use. So we need somehow to keep some distance of it. I have seen these days, we need to be informed, most of all, of what we need to do in the present situation that we are going through. How we can protect ourselves from infection, how we can protect others. This we need to do. But truly speaking, to stay every day counting how many people are infected, how many people have passed away, how many people this or how many people that, on a personal level, it doesn't make that big difference. So we are there, you know, with live counting every 5 hours, what happened, and this and that, and bringing more anxiety and fear and this. We need, okay, look at the news. Sure, we need to see what and understand what is happening, but maybe what I try to do is 1 time in the morning, 1 time in the evening. That's all. And then, in the middle of the day, we focus on things that are positive and virtuous on our own daily behavior, the time that we have. Because the time that we have in front of us is our life. And I don't want these months of my life to go by just worrying or thinking about things that finally will not construct anything positive to my life. It's like, you know, nowadays that many of us started with Italy, now many other countries are closing, so many of us need to stay at home. That's why we do these teachings online. So somehow we are all in retreat. The question is, what is your retreat about? You are making a retreat of Yamantaka, of Guya Samaja, of Vajrayogini. You are making a retreat of Lammering studies. You are making a retreat of meditation. You are making a retreat reading beautiful books. You are making a retreat cultivating a good relation with your family. Or you can also be making retreat counting the many people that are sick in each country. You can make retreat to memorize all the laws that come from the ministries about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. You can make retreat about all the worries of the present and the future and the end of the doomsday of what will happen. The fact is that Most of us, actually, almost every one of us, we are in retreat. The question is how we fill up our time. How we fill up this time that we have. Generally speaking in life, particularly speaking at this very right moment, what do we put inside? And we need to structure our time. Make a meditation in the morning, take some time to study, some time to work. We need to structure what we do. Otherwise, time goes by through distractions. And as Atisha said once, he said, in these times of degeneration, the objects of knowledge are way too many. Life is short, death is certain, life is short, and we don't know when it will happen. So, choose to learn and to put your energy in what really matters. Because there are infinite things to learn and to know and so on. But what is actually really useful in my life? And what I see is that one of the most important things is to cultivate the positive and virtuous relationships with the people around us. To cultivate a way of living that is peaceful, that we are in peace with ourselves and we are in peace with others. This is maybe one of the most important things that finally we have. So, my request is, let's use this moment that we have in a positive way. And some people ask me, oh Lama, but what do you think? What do you think about this whole situation? How long will it last? What will happen? One thing I can say for sure, it will pass. When? I don't know. Will it take very, very long time? I don't think so. Will it be extremely short? I don't think so. How long? I don't know. The important thing is that we live in a positive, in a virtuous way every day that we come by. That's important. That we go through the difficult moments with respect, with gratitude, taking care of others, giving priority to the general well-being of all before our own. And through that we take care of our own well-being also. So, and someone else asked me, are you worried? No. I'm not worried because I have trust in life. I have trust that things will go bad, but we have the means to deal with it. Things will be wonderful and we'll have the means to deal with it beautifully. I have any idealized image of my own life that things will always be beautiful and things will always go well. But I have, through the gratitude of my own gurus, through the Dharma, I feel that I have all the necessary tools and means to deal with whatever situation comes in front. So whatever will happen, we will deal with it in the best way of our own abilities. So we relax within the certainty of uncertainty, and we cultivate the way how we deal with the situations by living every day virtually and peacefully. So we in a way to get to the end of every day without particular regrets. And when there is a regret, then we redirect ourselves and we overcome the regret. We make peace with it again. Okay. So we will take these times also to try to be near to everyone as much as possible through internet. And I'm grateful for everyone from home. And we'll just conclude now making some prayers together in order to dedicate, especially we dedicate these prayers for all those that are actually dealing directly with this sickness, both the sick people and the doctors and nurses and all the people that are in the front line dealing directly with the sickness. We live at a very fortunate time where even though in a moment of so much difficulty, we can be comfortably at home. I was thinking, like, in the past, when there was like big epidemics and things like this, one of the worries was that food would end truly. nowadays, by the way how things are and so on, at least in the present moment as I see it, maybe we need to give up a little bit of our comforts, our luxuries. But I don't see the danger where we are in the context in which we are of remaining without food, of going through such type of famine or situations like this. So we are in a very fortunate situation, generally speaking. So we really need to dedicate our thoughts, our prayers, especially for those that are really going through difficulty. We be grateful, have gratitude for the situation in which we are, compared to many others that are in a very difficult moment. So we dedicate for them, in order for those that are sick to be quickly out of their sickness. May their sickness be quickly pacified. May those that are dealing directly with the sickness have love, compassion, which gives strength, have wisdom to make the right choices, have inner space to deal with the whole situation that they are going through in this very right moment. And may all this sickness, as soon as possible, be pacified in the best way. And may we all also be able to learn through the experience, to have more unity. Because interestingly enough, human beings make unity, much more unity, having an enemy in common than having a friend in common. And in this moment, something that it's quite rare and difficult to happen, but we finally have something that unites everyone. The important thing is for us to take a good lesson out of it. To understand that we are all together and that we should need all to take care of each other. This is also something that it's very important for us to learn, to remember, and also to understand the interdependence that exists through all of us. But anyhow, we don't need to say much more now. We'll have other opportunities. And then, for now, we just go to the final prayers. We'll do very briefly. We have been the whole day, Rinpoche have been the whole day making mantra recitations and everything else. So we just do the final dedication. Om Pishatse Parna Shaware Shawa Tsovare Prashamana Yeswaha. Om Pishatse Parna Shawar Shawa Tsovare Prashamana Yeswaha. Om Pishatse Parna Shawar Shawa Tsovare Prashamana Yeswaha. Om Pishatse Parna Shaware 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 Shawa Tsovare Prashamana Yeswaha. Simche neba chinye pa nyurdo nele targyurachi drove neni malya takto chungwa mebrasho menan tudan dembadan sanga dejo drubai kandra simbola sopa ninche simdan dengyurachi chona kuna ludan sim dunga neba chinye pa teda dagi sonamgi dega gyatso topa. Whatever sick and suffering sentient beings there may be, may they quickly be freed from their suffering and sickness. May all sentient beings always live in a state free from any sickness. May the medicines be effective, may the prayers and mantras of healing be effective. May the beings that create harm and sickness, such as bacteria and viruses, have compassion over the sick one. In all directions, whatever sick and suffering body and mind may exist, may to the powers of my merits reach an ocean of well-being and happiness. Jetsung Lama kutse rabten che namkra tinle chokchur gepadam losan tempe drame sasumki drove minsel tatu negyurchi. Nimo dele tsendele, nime kuyan delekshi, ninsen takto delekpe, koncho sumke jingelo, koncho sumke modrub tsol, koncho sumke tashi. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and spring all the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness.